So somebody is going to anchor it, or
Yes,
I
yes,
just...
good. Good. Good evening to all of you. A very warm welcome to all of you. As a part of birth centenary celebrations of Dr. V. Kurien, we are going to listen to a very interesting talk on a very interesting topic. And the topic is My Destiny with Daring Rags to Riches, Magic of White Gold. What a topic. And we are, I am also happy to inform that we we have Shri Sangram Chaudhary to talk on this topic. Sir, I welcome you for this session, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, I
Thank
would
you.
like to take this opportunity to introduce Sri Sangram Chaudhary, though he doesn't need any introduction, but I would like to say a few words in his introduction. Sri Sangram Chaudhary worked with NDTV as its executive director from December 2011 to September 2020. During his tenure, he played a very important role in implementation of various core activities of NDTV, including the National Dairy Plan 1. He provided able leadership and expert guidance to the organizations and also nurtured an ethical and value-based culture in the organization. In his career, spanning over more than 35 years, he worked with Gujarat Dairy Development Corporation, Baroda Milk Union, Mother Dairy, and Banas Milk Union. Under his authentic leadership, Banas Milk Union became the largest milk union in the country, as Sir was just telling us, and transformed lives of millions of producers. He is currently heading the Banas Milk Union as its managing director. He is also a member of various professional bodies like Ahmedabad Management Association, Rotary International, Indian Dairy Association, etc. Sangram sir, after completing his MSc with his specialization in life sciences, he completed his postgraduate diploma from in rural management from Irma. Sir, I would say that Sangram sir has dedicated his entire life in the service of farmers, and he understands every aspect of dairying like none other does. He is a true embodiment of servant leadership, which is strongly needed in today's context. He's the best person to talk on today's theme. Sir, just to inform that the format for this session involves the talk by the speaker, followed by question and answer session. Those who are interested to ask questions may please send their questions in the comment section. Sir, now may I again invite you to have this talk on the topic that is my destiny with daring rags to riches, magic of white gold. Welcome, sir. Again, I request you to have this talk on this topic.
So thank you, Lalit. A very warm good afternoon to all my colleagues at NDDB. I see very familiar faces and feel very nostalgic about it. I'm very proud that in the centenary year of the father of white revolution, Dr. Kurien, I'm invited to speak about my destiny with daring, rags to riches, magic of white gold. Uh, I would start with my modest beginning in a marginal farmer's house in the 60s, where I was born in a hamlet in Mehsana district, uh, near in Gujarat, in one corner of Gujarat, having only 25, 30 household in that place. I was literally born, I need not say that I was born like Jesus, but I was literally born in the manger because my mother had labor pain in my backyard buffalo manger. in when I was born, we we didn't have dairy in the village. But when I became at around 8 years old, we had a cooperative society in the village. And one of the earliest memories of my life is that we used to pour milk in that village society by taking that small can of milk to the society. I had seen a picture which you see behind me, a similar picture in that village society of one gentleman looked like Dr. Kurien. I had no idea about his name or his role or his work. Nothing I knew about as a young child. Nothing I knew about his contribution to this daring in India. But I had no idea this is the great son of India who is going to shape my destiny from almost penury. I mean, we were born to a marginal farmer's family and hardly had 2 mills. We, 5 of siblings, a younger brother to me and 3 sisters, we used to live in a kacha house with the uh, tiles of those days. They used to be. I don't know whether you've seen any of you those earthen tiles which are baked by the village potter, and it put on the roof to make the roof in the house. And one of the earliest memories which we I had was that my one or two buffaloes used to be in the same house in the courtyard where we used to live. I also remember very fondly that in the winter times, I used to sleep beside my buffalo, and it was a very warm feeling to have because there was a lot of warmth coming from bhuri. Bhuri used to be the buffalo, which was which was given to my mother from the maternal house as a matter of dowry, because those days there was a custom that a young lady who goes after the marriage to the in-laws will carry one small young buffalo or a cow. So my mother had that buffalo, and that was the daring which started in my uh, very early childhood. I want to remember this because till I graduated from St. Xavier's College, Ahmedabad, I had no idea that I will end up into daring as a career, because I had seen that picture and I had forgotten by the time I came to Ahmedabad for St. Xavier's College for my graduation in biochemistry in 1978. Uh, we we were one of the first batches of the biochemistry class of Gujarat University. And once we passed out as biochemistry, we were doing our post graduation in life sciences, as Lalit said, in Gujarat University, Ahmedabad. We were preparing for civil services while we were doing our post graduation in life sciences. And after I passed out my MSc, I was invited by one of the professor who had come from uh, Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, TFR, Mumbai, taken my viva in the final exam of the post graduation MSc classes, and he said, "Why don't you come to Mumbai and do your PhD?" So I thought it was a good idea to go for a PhD in the applied science. I was doing some research on cerebral cytology then, and I was working on spinal cord and cerebrum. I still remember that I was measuring an activity of acid phosphatase and alkaline phosphatase in cerebrum and spinal cord of 4 vertebrates. Anyway, that's not very relevant to it. But then I had, as a student, as a student of science, I was always interested, and I thought I will go and do PhD. Some of my friends said that you should not do PhD, but you should go, you should do civil services. So we were preparing and registered as a student in the IS training center, AD Sodhan IS training center, which was the training center in Gujarat University for the civil services. We registered there, and we were preparing for the civil services exams. Those days, there were not many management schools in the country. Only three of the uh, IIMs, Indian Institute of Management, Mumbai, Bangalore, Calcutta, and Ahmedabad, and one few of private management colleges. IRMA was relatively new management colleges, and was a very reputed one. And people were talking about IRMA so much on the campus that some of my friends said, why don't we go and appear for the IRMA classes, IRMA exams, entrance exams. So we went and appeared the IRMA entrance exam, and 84 I just got a fellowship from IRMA and landed up into Anand. Uh, Till then, I also was not very sure that I was to work on dairy and who Dr. Kurien was. But when we came to the campus, we had the first interaction with Dr. Kurien. And I remember that photograph which was there in my village in the cooperative society. Oh, I said, oh, this is the gentleman which I had seen in the village cooperative society, and his photograph was there. So they said, Acha, it was a Dr. Kurian's photograph. And then my curiosity raised so much that I came to know Dr. Kurian on the June, somewhere in one day in June 1984, and we landed up in Anand. Uh, Dr. Kurian used to come almost every day or maybe alternate day to the campus, and he used to take a walk on the campus. And occasionally he used to interact with the students, but he was such a towering personality that people were very awed by his presence on the campus. Uh, One of the incidents which I remember is very vivid in my mind, though it's a very sad and tragic incident. You know, one of the semester exams which we had completed, and we went to Galteshwar. Galteshwar is a place nearby Anand. It's not very far, 35, 40 kilometers from. Some of you might be knowing too. There is a Mahi River, and there is a Shiva temple there. So we went there, and one of our colleague drowned, Sanjeev Kamra, if you have ever heard of his name. Dr. Sanjeev Kamra, a veterinarian, drowned in the river. Uh, I had a very, I was very shocked because where Sanjeev Kamra died, I was also there in the same river, almost few feet away from the Dr. Sanjeev Kamra. And few of the fishermen were fishing in that area, and they said, please don't go deep inside the river. So some of us said, look, we want to swim and we know how to swim. Why you are saying no to us? Your fish is getting disturbed. That's why you are saying no to us. Uh, I I listened to those fishermen. I just left that place and went into a shallow water. In After 3 4 minutes, somebody shouted, "Dr. Kamra is drowning," uh, and two others were drowning also. I don't remember who were my colleagues. Those, but we lost Sanjeev Kamra. Uh, it was a very sad moment to happen. Then we returned to Anand. Dr. Kurien was waiting for the students to return to Anand Irma. When we reached there, only word he said was that this batch needs to be dismissed from the campus. And it was a very airy silence for us. And it was very frightening thing to happen. Then, of course, it didn't happen that we weren't dismissed from uh, that incident. But after Irma, Lalit was telling, I appeared for the campus interviews. placement, and we had three chances of the campus placement. I Gujarat Cooperative Milk Marketing Federation was one of it. The second was the Oilseed Growers Federation of Gujarat Oilseed Growers Federation, and it was my job was to be in Vapi, but I went to Vapi and there was so much of chemical and pharmaceutical industries and pollution. I said, no, we are not going to Vapi. So I landed up in Gujarat Cooperative Milk Marketing Federation, Gujarat Dairy Development Corporation, that is GDDC, on that penultimate day, and joined GDDC on 11th March 2019, 1986, 11th March 1986 at Bhuj, that is Madhapur. It's a small little dairy in Kutch district, which is now called Kheer Dairy, that or a Sarhad Dairy. No, it's a Kheer Dairy. Uh, so I ended up with dairying because of Dr. Kurien. Had he not offered us a fellowship to a poor farmer's family, as a board of governor of firma, all the time I opposed the fee increase because I used to tell everybody that look, if you are charged lakhs of rupees as fees, Sangram Chaudhary would have never become an IRMA graduate. If you continue to charge high fees, how do you expect poor farmers' children to come and study here? So that's of course a dichotomy and a dilemma in running an institute, that you need money to run the institute. But Dr. Kurian, as an institution builder, was an par excellent. He built world's finest school of rural management in Irma, I think, and the immense contribution which he had in my life, a very poor farmer's son could get the education. I think it's all dedicated to Dr. Kurian. And remember colossal contribution in the agrarian rural development and dairy development. Right? Magic, I call milk as a magic because the cows and buffaloes are the best friends any rural people can have. They, whatever you give, they multiply and give back to you. If you give love, they give you back love. If you give feed, they give you back milk. And if you tend for them, they make your economy. Cow-based farming was the ancient norms in this country, and 10,000 years old. The relationship between humans and the bovines has been very closely associated. So milk has created magic in my life. It must have created magic in millions of other people's life. And if India is today proud to be the world's number one as a milk producer, world's largest milk producer, I think we bow to Dr. Kurian for his efforts of Operation Flood program, where before that we were dependent on doles from UNICEF. My children of the country used to get milk from the doles of UNICEF or US um, for the World Food Program. After I landed up in GDDC, it was a very learning experience. I always say that I've remained a student for whole of my life. Even today, I continue to learn every day. Uh, I started learning dairy because dairying was not my subject. Though I was a marketing manager in Kutch, I started spending half the day in my plants, and I started learning how milk is being processed. That helped me later in Banaskantha, where I devoted a large amount of my life as a general manager and as a chief executive officer. Uh, my interaction with Dr. Kurian has been on many occasions. I remember one of the most important thing I learned from him was punctuality. I always proudly say that I'm never late anywhere in the world. Wherever I've gone, I've been ahead of time. And that all credit goes to Dr. Kurien. He was never late in his life. I remember he saying in one of those, somebody saying in one of those interactions that he had gone to meet Madhavrao Scindia, the railway minister, for some reason. And his meeting was fixed. And then the PA in the Madhavrao's office said that please wait, the minister is meeting somebody else. So after waiting for a few minutes, Dr. Kurien, I think he is written in his autobiography also, that he said that if your time is important, your minister's time is important, my time is equally important, and I represent the farmer of the country. So I think he understood the value of time, because what is the most important thing is breathing. If breathing is there, your life is there, otherwise you're not there. And what is breathing? Breathing is synonymous with time. Time is your life. Time is your breathing. Every breath is a time. You can measure your time in your breath. So he always emphasized that, and that's one virtue has helped me to be to grow in my life. Second thing is his his uh, unpackable integrity about doing things. Even if you happen to lose something, be very honest with yourself and be honest with everybody. That's one thing. Though Dr. Kurian looked very strict about things, he was very kind-hearted person. One of those IRBA board meeting, he used to I because I am a vegetarian, I used to take curd rice and all that thing. And he said, you are a vegetarian, but then milk is not vegetarian. I said, sir, don't tell anybody milk is not vegetarian. Otherwise, people will not buy milk. So he said, no, animal, it's an animal origin product. I said, but we consider it a vegetarian. He was very jovial and humorous, and he was very witty about everything. GCMF, I had an opportunity to interact with him as a chairman of GCMF for about 11 years, when we regularly every month had programming committee. He used to come and talk to us for at least half an hour every month, and he used to tell us about the stories of all the milk industries, how he struggled with the Amul in the earlier days of the Amul India story, how he made the buffalo milk powder, and all those stories he used to tell us. One good thing about, I remember one of the incidents, he was standing on the third floor of GCMF office, and uh, the late Masana Dairy chairman, the great gentleman Motibai Chaudhary, was talking to him, and I think he was just commenting about the tiles of the GCMF office. He said, Dr. Kurian, you are putting very expensive tiles. So he turned on the other side and said, if the gold tiles were available, I would have put gold tiles. That was the standard Dr. Kurian used to instill on us. He used to say that was the kind of quality he used to think about. Look at the man's thinking. He said the best is for the farmers. If we have to be best, then we have to have the best things. He never. One of the another incident which I remember. Banaskantha, when I came here, had 1 lakh liter of milk and 70 crore of annual turnover, and we had a plant which was processing about 2 lakh liters of a plant. When we went for a dryer, we we had a dryer which was about 20-ton dryer, and we also had a dryer of 30 ton. When the milk started flowing in, when it was about 5 lakh liters, we went for a dryer with a request to NDDB to build a dryer for us. Then NDDB, Mr. Dickies and the engineering head and other people, his team was telling us, Are, why you want to have a 60-ton dryer? Nobody should build a 60-ton dryer in Banaskantha. I think Talukdar would. I don't know whether Talukdar knows about it, but myself, Mr. Patibhai Patel, who was the chairman of Banaskantha Milk Union, we went with a request to NDDB that we want to build a 60-ton plant. So Dr. Amrita Patel and other people were there, and everybody say, "Arey sir, chairman sir, there is no milk in Banaskantha, or they don't have water. What we'll do with the 60-ton dryer there?" So I told sir, "We'll have milk. Why don't you give us a 60-ton dryer?" So he looked in my eyes and said, "Do you think the milk will come?" And I said, "Yes, sir." And Mr. Patibhai Patel said, "Yes, sir, we will bring milk." Then he asked me another question. Arey, how will you run that big plant? You don't have people. So I said, "Sir, we will train the people, and we'll make sure that we have sufficiently skilled people to run these plants." He said, "Are you sure?" I said, "I am confident." Then he looked in my eyes, told Dr. Patel, let them build a 60-ton powder plant. So then everybody said, "Yeah, okay, 60-ton powder plant." One word, it's finally like that. Look at the height of the person. I had a very one of the incident which is a very sour memory, in the sense that um, in Irma we had controversy about the chairmanship, and I went and told Dr. Kurien that I'm not agreeing with you. So he looked at me. I told in a very specific word. I said, "Dr. Kurien, you are God for me, but I don't agree with you." So he looked at me and said, "Do you think so?" I said, "Yes, sir." He didn't say a word to me. He said, "Okay, thank you. Go." That was his magnanimity to accept even the uh, dissent of a very young man. I think it can happen very rarely in such a circumstances. Today, if you go and tell the Prime Minister that I don't agree with you, maybe tomorrow you are set. I don't know. That can happen, but that is the magnanimity of a person. Uh, I why I'm saying that rag to riches, till I left Baroda, my salary was a very few 2,500 rupees, and when I came to Palanpur, I didn't have money to pay the fees of my children. But today, I have millions of rupees. It's only because of Dr. Kurian, and it's only because of the milk, my destiny. Milk has made me. Milk has made millions and millions of people of country millionaires. In Banaskantha, it's a saga of milk destiny, where we started with 1 lakh liter. Today, we are receiving 8 million liters of milk. We are going to receive 10 million liters of milk this year, if not this year, next year. And in year 2025-26, we'll be receiving 1.5, 1 crore 50 lakh liters of milk, 15 million liters of milk. I had an opportunity to go to New Zealand, and I look at Dr. Kurian's foresight while building the institutions and infrastructure in dairy industry in the country. He also made it sure that he invested into people. He used to send us to various countries to learn about the modern management of dairy. And one of those trips, I was in New Zealand, and I visited a plant which was 14 million liter plant, Fonterra's plant. And I was awed by that plant. And that particular plant, I had just a dream in mind. Can this happen into Gujarat? Today it's going to be a reality. That's what the seed. I remember him saying in one of the convocation of Irma, saying that my job is to sow the seeds when the land is fertile and the rains come. It's the destiny which will decide. Some of the seeds will sprout and work for the poor agrarian people of the country, and some may not, and some may not become weeds. But it's my duty to sow these seeds. I think these seeds are sown into us. My destiny is made by milk. My destiny is made by Dr. Kurian, and I'm whatever I am is because of Dr. Kurian today. And his contribution in my life is immense. It cannot be measured any terms. Any case, you are indebted to your parents for your physical existence, but you are indebted to your mental buildup, your intelligence buildup, and uh, your professional skill to your teachers. So I think he's been a great teacher. He's been great mentor. He has touched millions of lives in this country, and uh, remembering him today, I pay my respect to him that Dr. Kurien, I owe my my success or whatever little what I am here today and whatever little I could do for the people of the country. When I passed out from Irma, I wrote a mission statement into one of my CVs. I don't know, one might be lying into NDDB's uh, records that one my mission statement was like making people smile, bringing smiles on the people's faces, and making my children the valuable citizen of the country. That mission I have almost fulfilled, and I continue to do that till I'm alive. My aim is going to be bringing happiness to the people, harvesting happiness for people, bringing joy to the lives, many more lives, and see that people work with joy, people dream big, people add value, innovation as a value. Look at the man's vision. He brought Tetra Pak in 1970s. It's a different thing that Tetra Pak didn't work in those days, and we only used to pack oil into Tetra Pak. Today, if GCM is selling 2 million liters of Tetra Pak milk, it was Dr. Kurien's. The credit goes to Dr. Kurien, who made this dream come true. He brought the Safal idea. Today, the government of India has opened a new ministry, and the Home Minister the other day was talking that he wants cooperatives to organize the value addition and processing of fruits and vegetable and horticulture. Dr. Kurian was way ahead of that time. He brought that concept to dairy cooperatives, and today the country is moving towards it. The Home Minister was saying why we can't add value. The raw material goes to many countries, and they add value and sometimes bring back the products to us. I think it's the time, if we want to see that the income of our farmers is doubled, as the Prime Minister of India is saying, and as he's dreamed to double the income of the farmers. I think value addition in the agriculture produce and processing would be the way to do it. Today, milk has been successful, and this milk magic, the white gold, can turn many more sector into similar line. Collectives can work together and bring joy to farmers, harvest happiness for them, and not only socio-economic development. In the process, I know as a young child, I used to wonder why people are jealous, why people are greedy. I think the time has come. I think Murthy would agree with me that time has come that we move from IQ to EQ to SQ, the spiritual quotient. Happiness will not come unless you go there and increase the spiritual quotient of the people, be it a small farmer, be it a manager, or an executive, or an engineer, or a dairy technologist. You have to understand that happiness is within, and happiness is state of mind. Happiness is within you. So unless you awaken that level of spiritual quotient, happiness will not come. One of my assignment here now is that Banas is going to be harvesting happiness, working with joy, and every day is a new day. Learning organizations is the time, knowledge based organizations is the time, and this all has been taught by Dr. Kurien. I go to my teacher, my mentor, and a great son of India in his centenary year. I had I had not prepared anything to speak about it, because I thought that it is only should come from my memories, and that's what I have done today. I've been very happy to speak to you. I think I have spoken. If anybody has any experience, thank you everybody. Thank you NDDB and Dr. Satyendra and Ladani and Lalit, those who have organized this video talk. You are most welcome to ask me anything which you think is relevant to today's topic. Thank you, gentlemen.
Sure, sir. So very inspiring speech was there. The talk was very inspiring. I think many people have, many employees, our colleagues must have got some questions in their mind or some queries to ask. If you, at all you have any, please, you may ask that. Sir, one question.
May I start, sir?
One question I have received from Ashok.
Rana, Samir Kumar Rana.
Yes, sir.
He's asking, before that I have received one question
Okay, sir.
from Ashok Gupta. So he is asking that you always emphasized on training and capacity building of human capital involved in Banas and NDDB. How we should strategize the same for dairy co-ops and federation of other states. How to strategize national labor training interventions for entire Indian dairy sector.
I don't know. Many of you remember one of the initiative which we, when I joined NDDB in 2011, was to build an HRD academy at Bangalore. The Bangalore facility which we have, we thought we'll build an HRD academy owned by NDDB, and we will build a school for training the professionals of dairy. I don't know anyone. Some of you, Anil Atekar and people would know. Remember that Rudra Ganganagar was a secretary who made a study. I think you must be having that volume with you.
That was in Hyderabad, sir.
Satyendra was his assistant. Dr. Satyendra was his assistant who was assisting him. What I am saying is that human beings have potentials. The manager's job is to recognize that potential, unleash that potential, so that he does a self-actualization in a Maslow's need hierarchy. He grows to the level that rather than taking, he starts giving to the society, and that is what is the important thing to happen. Investing in people. I mean, the only other day I was making a social comment, and I said investing in people was one lesson what Dr. Kurien always taught us, because he built IRMA. He made sure that every person in NDDB had orientation, Bharat Darshan. He made sure that every person in NDDB got training, and he always went for training the people from dairy sector. Look at that Erode or MIT or Punjab Institute or Guwahati Institute or wherever we are there, Siliguri. These were the places were built with the idea of making people more employable so that their market value remains. And I have always kept this in my mind. Who can take over his place? There can't be any way, any other way. There should be equally competent people of as equal your chief executive who can take over the next day from him. That was the lesson. So investing in people was always a lesson from Dr. Kudia. And in GCMF also, he made it sure that we were trained at world-class places. That continues for even today. I mean, I am a Japanese fan. I had a special therapy, Oriental Management Therapy, which I call for OD, Organization Development, and OT, Organizational Transformation. When I came to Palanpur, people had not visited Ahmedabad. Not many people had visited Ahmedabad. I was a little shocked. And the first thing which I said that let's go to Anand. And you know, we were told you don't know anything. आपको कुछ नहीं आता, आपको सीखना चाहिए. Even GCMF used to tell us, because we had old infrastructure, we had people who were not properly trained, and we didn't have management processes. The processes were old processes, so they were not changing with time. So first thing we decided, let's get exposed. So we started traveling across the places, and we were very fortunate to travel to Japan. I think we owe so much, at least Banaskantha owes so much to Japanese people who taught us TQM, total quality management. And that was a transforming moment. When I came back, I went in 1996, 97 to Osaka, Yokohama for my first training in TQM. When I came back and I told the story of Japanese management and Japanese quality system, and when I talked about Dr. Deming, people were not ready to believe me. So I made it a point. I sent 1 dozen people to Japan and okay, go and see how they do it. Once you see, you believe it. So that's the way we started. And I think it has paid back in many fold to us. The investment which you make in people always pays back. That's what I believe. And that's very important to do.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, Rana sir, for speaker, your speaker.
Yes, Rana.
Thank you, sir. It is for your very inspiring talk. It is really inspiring to all of us. I have got just a small wanted to learn from you. Sir, you have already told that we have been reaching to maybe 150 million in the next 5 years of in production, particularly in the dairy, and you have got the very largest experience for the different dairies also in NDDB. So I was just wondering, what would be your suggestion, because we have already reaching to the volume. What will be your suggestion for further improving that the quality, and what would be the challenges for that?
I think two areas are most important. One is quality and productivity. If we have to emphasize these two areas, one is quality. Is that when I go to US or Europe, I see the fresh milk being sold for 18 days, and in Amul also, in Amul closed room, I talk about it. I am not afraid of talking anything, but I talk about it. Why can't we increase the life of fresh milk to 18 days? That's because that's a large farm system, and we have a smallholder system, and our milk chain, the cold chain, is not very perfect, and that's why the bacterial quality is an issue. But uh, I think we need to build a rural infrastructure to improve the quality. We need to build uh, village level infrastructure, and we also need to mechanize the farm system so that human intervention is uh, minimized. Dr. Rana, for your information, as far as the productivity is concerned, I was talking about Dr. Sharma. I don't know whether he's listening to me or not. I was always talking about synthetic gamete, and that's the project which I was trying to push. And for information, I'm already in. We are in touch with some of the international renowned institutes to talk about uh, cloning. So it would be one of the most interesting subject for you. We already started embryo transfer. I don't want to reveal many things, but because before it happens, there is no point in talking about it. I'm not the person who will say, okay, ऐसा हम ताजमहल बना देंगे, but ताजमहल बनने के बाद बता देंगे. वो बात तो सही है. ताजमहल बनने के बाद बताना जरूरी है. ताजमहल बना देंगे वो प्रोमिस करने से अच्छा है कि बना ही दे. I've been always person of dreams. What I believe is that the from manager to leadership is the difference is managers manages, a leader dreams. Leader dreams a big dream, and then he sells his dreams to his people, or he makes them to follow that dream and realize that dream along, taking them along and providing them resources, providing them skills, providing them abilities to realize that dream. That is the leadership quality. And a manager will manage or follow something which is something is told to him. A leader dreams and dreams big. I think Dr. Kurien was one of the great leader of this country, where he always dreamed big things. He dreams about new things, and then he took the people along. He made the people to understand those dreams. He skilled them, provided the skills to them to realize, transform those dreams into reality. And that's the leadership qualities which happen. So productivity and quality, we are trying to address here also. We'll be making few hundred cows from elite cows in another few years of time, replicating one Kamdenu to many more Kamdenus, indigenous cows, maybe crossbred. I think it would be a great thing to happen if I can realize that in my lifetime.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Anyone else? Sir. Yeah. Hello, sir. Goswami sir here.
Goswami.
हाँ सर, थैंक यू सर. आपके साथ बहुत अच्छा टाइम स्पेंड किया है बनास की शुरुआत से, आपने जो याद किया.
Yeah.
सो
That's
अभी
right.
आज मुझे मालूम पड़ा कि सेन साहब ने अचानक अक्टूबर 96 में मुझे क्यों बुलाया था. प्रोबेबली आपकी जो मीटिंग हुई ना, सर ने जब बोला कि भाई 60 टन का पाउडर लगाएंगे वहां पे,
जरूर.
तो सेन साहब ने अचानक बुलाया और बोला भाई अभी चौहान साहब की बात आप बिल्कुल नहीं सुनेंगे, मुझे एस्टिमेट बना के देंगे बनास 2 के लिए ये डेयरी का. और मुझे टाइम दिया 4 दिन.
चौहान साहब को छोटा प्लांट बना.
नहीं वो साहब क्योंकि मैं साहब उनके साथ काम करता था ना, तो बोले आप उनको बिल्कुल रेफर नहीं करेंगे, मेरे हिसाब से आप एक प्लांट का पूरा एस्टिमेट बना के देंगे जो अक्टूबर 90 में बना के दिया था.
जी.
और सर हमें खुशी इस बात की है कि हमने उसी एस्टिमेट के एरिया के हिसाब से जो दिया था उसके हिसाब से सारा बनास्टू में काम किया, कोई एक्स्ट्रा आइटम नहीं बनाया, ना कोई कॉस्ट इंक्रीज होने दिया
जी.
दैट वाज वन थिंग. दूसरा साहब आपने जो बताया, एक्चुअली मैं उसमें डाल दिया है मैंने ऑलरेडी अपने चैट बॉक्स में. आपसे कई इंटरेक्शन हुए थे, तो पहला पॉइंट जब यही था, मैं आपके पास मिला था कि साहब ये 3.5 लाख दूध अभी आ रहा है, तो ये 6.5 कैसे होगा. तो आपने उस दिन यही कहा था कि जिस दिन आप प्लान चालू करोगे 6.5 लाख मैं आपको दूंगा.
That's right.
यस सर. और बहुत कुछ सीखा है सर आपसे वहाँ पे, और ये सारी बातें जो आपने बताई, प्रैक्टिकली 1.5 साल पूरा आपके साथ इंटरेक्ट किया है वहाँ पे साइट पे, हर दिन हमने इंटरेक्ट किया है.
जी.
और साहब जो सबसे अच्छी बात जो मुझे आपके साथ याद आती है, 9 बजे का आपका राउंड.
That's right. 9 o'clock. For your information, people would be very surprised that for 13 days, 13 years, I had not taken a leave, not even Sundays. Sorry.
थैंक यू सर.
That's it. Yes, Anil.
सर एक सवाल ये है कि आपने तीनों भी फेज देखे हैं. ऑपरेशन फ्लड के पहले का जहाँ स्पीयरहेड टीम्स बनी थी, और वो एक फेज था. दूसरा फेज है उसका रेप्लिकेशन का, जहाँ से हम नंबर 1 बने हुए वर्ल्ड में. और अभी जो तीसरा फेज चल रहा है, जहाँ इतने सारे चैलेंजेस बढ़े कि प्राइवेट सेक्टर भी काफी बड़ा हुआ है, मिल्क प्रोडक्शन भी बड़ा हुआ है सब तरफ से, प्लस इंटरनेशनल प्रेशर्स है क्वालिटी के और बाकी सब चीजें. सो व्हिच फेज वाज मोस्ट चैलेंजिंग?
I suppose the beginning of the milk growth was more challenging in the terms of that when we didn't have processing capacity. And not many of you know, when I took over as the managing director of Banaskantha in 1996 on 6th September, where I was born on 6th September, and I took over from 1st September. And on 7th September, my dryer was enveloped into fire. Goswami would know probably. I had a major fire in the 30 TPD, 30 ton per day dryer, and the dryer was destroyed. Those days there were no mobiles. When I reached Anand, the quality head of GCM, Mr. Sham Chaudhary, was waiting at the gate of GCMF, and then he said, "Chaudhary Saab, आपके plant में आग लग गया." I didn't understand what happened. When I had just taken over as a managing director, and I telephoned to the chairman, Shri Pratibhai, that should I return immediately. So he said, "No, you attend the meeting and then come back in the evening." Those days used to take 5.5 hours to reach Palanpur because there was a single road. And when I reached 10 o'clock in the evening to Palanpur, I straight went to the plant and my chamber was still having fire. Next day, I felt very frustrated. I had colleague called Madhubhai. Madhubhai was a great dairy man. He is no more. I should pay homage to him. And he was a great human being. Uh, he, though he was 15 years older than me, I went to the plant in the morning and I told Madhubhai, I think I can't run this place. Then he said, "Oh, sir, if you will feel disappointed and disheartened, what will happen to these 1,000 people which are there on the shop floor? So we are with you. We'll go." We didn't have processing plants and we had milk holidays. That was very disheartening. That was a very, very disappointing time. But fortunately, I realized that sometime the nature, the divine force works. The dryer, which was not a good technology, was destroyed into the fire, and I had a new dryer. So it was a kind of a blessing in disguise. And in that flush season, I hired almost 100 tankers, and I could keep a lot of milk on the road, and I could handle the milk by arrangement of keeping the chilled milk on the road and transporting them to other milk unions. We started Mother Dairy, and NDB was very helpful in modifying the plant and reinstalling the plant. So challenges are everywhere there. It's in the old days, even today. Now the new challenges are there. The quality is a challenge. Um, Commodity is a challenge. Commodity management is a challenge. From one flush to another flush, you have large commodity. You need to manage your commodities. So it's a new kind of challenges are emerging always because the challenges are there. So you have to challenge the challenges. So you challenge the challenges so that you overcome them, and it gives you strength. So that's a strength. Today, I'm fighting with new challenges, and they give me a lot of strength to fight with them.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Anyone? Sir, I'm very thankful to you having
I would
listened
like
to me.
everyone to stand up in your seats and pay uh, respect to Dr. Kurien. I would wish to do that. I would also do that. You can see the picture behind him, and that's what my yeah. Though it is a small group, I think this gesture will go into a long way. And wherever this divine soul is residing in heavens, would be listening to us and blessing to us. Thank you. Yeah, over to you, Lalit.
Yes, sir, I was just thinking that it was great to listening to you. Actually, sir, you have revealed the secret to reaching to the riches from Rex. And I would say that the secrets are the attitude of gratitude that you have shown and the values that we have inculcated, like punctuality, integrity, quality, choosing the best option, and accepting dissent. These are the values and the attitude of what you showed that I would say I'm sure that that will help a person to reach from rags to the riches. Thank you very much, sir. And I would say from my own side that I will try to adopt or to inculcate such qualities in my life also. And I also thanks all my colleagues, those who have joined and got this opportunity to listen to sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, thanks.
Thank you.